Hi all, hope you are doing well. In today's video session, we are going to play with observables and its high order operators switchMap, MergeMap, concateMap, and exhaustMap. At the end of this video, we should be able to answer why do we need observables, how they are helpful to achieve reactive programming, how observable operators can be helpful to solve different business use cases. The interesting part is we are going to use an in-house developed playground to understand these concepts. Link of this playground would be available in the description section. You can play with this tool until your concepts are not clear. So stay tuned till the end of this video and hopefully we will have a crystal clear understanding. Okay, so where to start? Let's first understand producer and consumer model. Let's take an example of iPhone where producer produces iPhone and make it available to the distributors. From the distributors we go and bought it either from the directly from the distributor or from the other shops. So this is very generic way of working for producer consumer model. There could be another use case where the iPhones are not available. What to do then? It's not being produced. We can say to our distributor, hey distributor, I want to really buy an iPhone and could you please notify me when it is available so that I can come and buy. In this case what happens, we are sort of subscribing his service and willing to get the notification so that we should not miss the iPhone when distributor will make it available. In this typical example there are two working model, pull and push. In pull model the producer is passive. It produces data when requested and consumer is active, decides when data is requested. In push model, the producer is active, produces data at its own pace, whereas consumer is passive and reacts to received data. So we'll discuss all these things through the code so that we will understand how actually observables works and when to consume, when to not, when we can stop, all those things step by step. In our first use cases, it's a pull model where consumers are willing to buy phone and they go to the shop and buy the iPhone. In the next use case where we need to get the subscription, it's kind of a push model where distributor notify us when iPhones are available, so it's like we can consume it. Now let's go to code playground of Rxjs. All you need to type on your browser playcode.io/Rxjs. Don't worry, I'll provide this link into description section. Once you are in, all you need to just delete this code and I'll paste some code here. Now here you can see I'm importing observable from Rxjs. So what is Rxjs? Rxjs is a library which means reactive extension of JavaScript. Basically through this library we can achieve reactive programming, but we are not going to deep dive into some other stuff for Rxjs. Rather we'll focus on what is observable. Now here you can see that in order to create an observable we have to use new operator and then observable, there is a subscribe parameter, and then we are doing some console log, but still it's not logging anything. So what needs to be done? I'll explain this code in a bit. Before that, let's try to understand how we can execute this code. So what I'll do, I'll type FrontPro observable dot subscribe, and the moment I subscribe you will see that I'm getting a message on the console. So again I'm getting message. So whenever I subscribe I get the message. Okay, so what is happening actually? Let's try to understand that. So in this function we can understand new observable returns an observable that can be subscribed by any component in our project. So it's like a function which returns an observable and attach it to the source where the values are expected from. We'll try to understand with our own example, and further when we are able to create the observable we should subscribe it. Subscription is nothing but like a calling the function. So here through this diagram you can understand observable function actually attach observable with the source of values, and then it returns an observable which actually can be subscribed. So here source of values similar to our producer who produces iPhones, and then these iPhones are distributed by the distributor. So distributor and producer are always in sync. Whenever there is a new set of iPhones comes in into the market, producer provides to the distributor and distributor distributes. And further, subscribers, we can consider a subscriber here in this example as consumers. Now you have understood how Observable works. Now it's time to get into the playground and play with some stuff. So let me type the URL. All you need to do, type frontpro.in. It's a platform where you will see a lot of things that I'll explain in a bit, but you need to go to tools and then observables. Here in observables you will see two options, playground and high order operators. If you go to playgrounds, it will open a new tab and it will bring the observable playground, where all you need to click on this and then consume the observables. So that I'll explain. You can see the code, even the HTML part and JavaScript part. Okay, so there are two types of observables, basic and event based observables, that I'll explain what to do in this. Another part would be high order operators, where you need to select the different operators and play with this. Okay, so now let me explain what exactly FrontPro is. FrontPro is actually a platform where you will learn a lot of things about different technologies. It's all about you first understand the basics and then you need to practice a lot, right? And believe me, in this AI world, we are learning a lot of things very quickly, but AI also works when we prompt them properly. So in ChatGPT, for an example, until unless you prompt something meaningful, you will not get correct answers. So in order to achieve that, you have to go through very structured, way of learning, experienced. So it's not that straightforward. Don't worry on that part, that AI is in and your job are at stake. It's not going to happen, right? It's something, a human brain which can think very logically. AI is a tool which can expedite your development and bring growth in your career. So what I'm saying, you will see a lot of sections that I'll keep on adding more and more. So if you go to the performance part, you will see the different videos what I have published, right? And you can hear those, you can watch those videos. For example, this is based on the angular change detection. On the top you can filter out them based on different topics, like if you want to learn about track by, then you can click on this, right, and it will bring the particular video in front of you. You just play it here, something like that. Welcome to FrontPro. In this video session we are going, so let's try to understand modified or new. I'll record another video to update you how to use this platform, right? You can find that link into the description section, maybe later on. Just keep checking on that part. Okay, so let's jump into the observable part, where we'll see that what exactly we need to do, and we will understand the anatomy of observables first before jumping into this playground, right? So there are few basic concepts you must know. An anatomy of observables considers four phases: creating observables, subscribing them, executing the observables, and disposing them. Observable can be created by commonly function like of, from, interval, as well as new observables. If you emphasize on this code snippet on the left hand side, where you can see that we are importing observables from Rxjs library, and then we are creating an observables that is actually containing the reference of the observables, and where we are using new observable and it has a function, callback function, right? And within that you will see next and complete. Error is also can be there, right? So I'll explain in that all three types of values that observable execution can deliver. Next, notification is it actually sends a value. It could be as a number or a string or an object. Error, it's something where you need to send some JavaScript error or exception. For an example, if you connect with a REST API and somehow you do not get any error, sorry, you do not get the data, then you can return with an exception which can be reached to the all the subscriber to this observables, right? So you understand the example we have discussed, like iPhone subscription, all these things, right? So somehow suppose uh, the manufacturer has generated the iPhone, but while he was sending it, the vehicle made an accident and somehow it cannot be delivered on the time. So we need to notify all the subscribers, right, consumers. So in that context it can be used. It's up to you that how do you use. And once you are done with that observables, you can trigger a complete. So it does not send any value. It says that okay, I'm done, I'm not going to send any further values. All right, now let's jump into the FrontPro Academy again. I'll go to tools, observables, and then playground. Okay, so here I need to go to the developers tools, then console. So in order to do that, I'll just click on inspect and then I am going to console, clear everything. Now you will observe. Don't worry, I'll explain the code in a bit, but let's try to understand how does it function and build our understanding. So I need to click on produce iPhones. Okay, first female subscriber consume, or may we can say that female consumer start consuming. You can see that we are getting some messages over the console. Here also we are getting that producer is no more providing iPhones. Now onwards female consumer will not get any new iPhones. So what is happening behind the scene? But before we jump into the code, let's consume by the male subscriber as well. You will see that okay, this is again same messages male consumer are getting. So somehow the observable is working. The moment we consume it or subscribe it, it sends data. Okay, let me close this and jump to the code section. So if I check the show code and go to the JavaScript part, you will see there are certain codes written over here which says initialize. So it's actually initializing, right, based on some HTML. So suppose there is a button where which say produce iPhones, this one, and I am calling a initialize method. Into the JavaScript part, what is happening? So you can see it's nothing but I am creating an observable, and you can see that I have prefixed with the dollar sign. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay, hope this is visible to you. So the dollar sign actually indicates that this is observable. So it's a best practice. I mean, it's up to you, but I would recommend that you should always prefix observable variables with suffixed with suffixed observable variables with a dollar sign. Then what I am doing here, I'm just the way I have already explained, that new observable is an operator which returns an observable variable, and here I am sending some messages. So that what you were already looking to that, right? You were getting over the console. After certain interval of time, like after 1 second, I'm sending okay, iPhone 13 is also available now. After 4 seconds, you can see that 13 Pro is available on the set time here. Now after 5 seconds, what I'm saying that producer is no more providing iPhones, and I call the complete method. So logically, once we are saying that okay, the observable is done, it's not sending any further message. So it means this message should not be displayed over the console. So we will again rerun that playground, okay, and just concentrate on this iPhone 30 Pro Max after complete should not be displayed. Okay, so let's do this exercise again. I'll refresh it so that everything is reset, and then I'll go to the developer tool again, clear the console, okay, and then I'll click on produce icons because this will initialize the observable, and then I'll consume it. Now you see that up to 13.1 13 Pro in 4 seconds, right, these are being displayed, and then once the observable is done, it says that female consumer will not get any new message, even though female subscriber, even though we try to send some message here after completing, right. So up to this state, right, we were getting message here. You can see this line, and then what we are doing, we are sending a warning message to the console that this is not providing any iPhones further, which is being displayed here, and then it says that now onwards the female consumer will not get any new iPhones. Okay, same goes true with consumer 2, which is male. Now we need to understand what is written at consumer end. I mean, what code we need to write. Okay, so let's jump into that part. So in this HTML code snippet, you can see that I have a matte slide toggle, which is material, angular material component, right. On the change, I'm calling a method female subscriber, and it says whether it has been checked or not, right. And this is the code snippet. What it says, it first of all checks whether that toggle button has been checked or not, right. If it is not, right, and it also check whether it has been subscribed earlier or not. If it is already subscribed and it already checked, I mean it is the female subscriber says, okay, I do not want further iPhones, I need to stop this, so she unchecked, right. And they here on that moment what happens, it actually call a unsubscribe method. So that's the last part I was talking about, when we need to destroy the observable, right, where what we were discussing in the anatomy of observables, where we need to dispose of the observables as well, which is very important, because if you do not do that, right, what happens, it actually leads to memory leak, right. So this is the best practice. You always, when you are done with the observable, you must unsubscribe it. You can also do this in Angular world. If you know ng destroy, you can use that lifecycle hook. Now next part comes in. If it is not true, it will go to here, and you can see there is 3 values that an observable execution delivers. First is next, where whatever message we are getting, we are just putting that into the console. On error, suppose somehow we got some error from the observables, then we can customize our error message here, or we can pop up any dialog or notify user in any way, right. Whatever the way you think, you can do it. The complete is something, once you must have observed that when we were saying, okay, the observables says I am done, right, there was a warning message, and after that this message was being printed. It was not coming from the observable, rather who has subscribed. So now this complete method is also getting triggered, correct. Then let me recap again. Okay, so this is our code where we are trying to understand. Once it says, okay, observable is complete, and then this message is not getting printed, rather once it says, okay, I'm done, then this complete method got trigger and print the message over the console. I hope you got this understanding. So we are very much clear on this anatomy of observables by using this playground. So just check this out, go to the link, navigate to that tool and then observable, you will find this. It will help you to make you understand, and try to play with this in JS Fiddle or something you want to write it in your way. Okay. So in this example, you can see I have a drop down where we have a template variable which is representing here with iPhones. This is an Angular example. You can do it in your way in React or some other JavaScript library or framework. It's up to you. So I'm providing you an example through Angular. This iPhones template variable can be accessed in our TypeScript file, right? And this is basic select with few options. Now the next part is the TypeScript file. The code is been written, right? You can see that it actually imports few things from Angular core and then from Rxjs, like observables from event and subscription. And then we have a class decorator, right? And which implements two lifecycle hooks on destroy and after view init, right? Then there are two variables has been declared. First is the observable variables, and the way as I mentioned earlier, that it should be suffixed with a dollar sign so that we can segregate these variables and can easily identify, okay, this is a observable. Second is the subscription variable, which has not been initialized just. The line number 13 says that, okay, I need to get the reference of iPhones, what has been provided in HTML part here, the hash iPhones. So this is element reference, and then I have a subscribed iPhone string which is blank right now. On the ng after view init subscription, I'm just tracking the change event, right? And this is I'm passing the reference of I'm passing the reference of select HTML element here as a first parameter, and then the event name, which is change here, right? You can observe that I have not written anything here, right? Rather everything is on TypeScript file. I'm storing this observables like this, and then I'm calling another function which is consumer subscriptions. In consumer subscription, I'm trying to store the subscription reference in iPhone subscription, and then I'm calling a subscribe method. There is an observer, right? And I'm checking if the native value dot selected index is not the first one, then put this the value, whatever the value has been selected by the user, put it into the string variable here, which is already being printed on the UI. That is the consumer part. It's something a very basic interpolation. All we need to emphasize on the part which is line number 18 is from event is from Rxjs library, which again creates our observables. That what we have understood in anatomy of observables, that an observable can be created by different ways, right? This is another example, and I'm passing the reference of that HTML element with the event name. That's it. Once we are done, right, all those things, ng destroy, which is nothing but when the components lifecycle ends, right, it gets triggered. It's actually checking whether there had been any subscription or not. If it is, then unsubscribe it. And I mentioned that if you do not do that, the subscription will remain intact there, and it may lead to memory leak. Further, performance will degrade. There is a very good tool on the browser nowadays, which is Lighthouse. It is available on Chrome, on Edge as well. I have recorded a separate video just to give you the high points. Do watch. I'll just try to link over here on the info button on the top, and as well as on the description part. Okay, so I hope these basics examples is clear to you. In case if you have any questions, do comment, do reach out to me, right? and I'll be happy to answer you. Do not miss the second part of the observables because high order operators will give you the tools how to effectively utilize your observable understanding in your projects. FrontPro is available on different platforms. Do subscribe, share with your colleagues and friends. All the links will be available into the description section. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, stay healthy. Thank you. Bye bye.